Welcome back to Theme Park Forge. My name is Andrew and today we are going to look at the worst type of attractions to the best. We are using a tiered system starting with F tier and working to S tier. The only item in F tier are the little rides that exist in malls and outside in front of certain grocery stores. They usually include motorized ponies, airplanes, and merry-go-round. Merry-go-rounds are the quintessential ride, so we'll use that in the video. We are starting with this particular type of attraction because they have motors and are designed for profit. So playgrounds don't count. I remember being a kid and having the best part of going to the grocery store be riding the merry-go-round out front in the parking lot. Or rather pretending to ride because I didn't have 50 cents. One factor that plays into its low ranking is cost. Right now you can buy one of these attractions for $1,500 used and be the owner of an amusement attraction. Next on our list, in D tier, are traveling carnival attractions. Like the Decepticons, they travel from town to town, conquering local carnivals and fairs. These rides can be pretty fun, and I'm impressed by the engineering that must have gone into making mobile attractions. But they cannot beat the other themes on this list. You can buy one of these attractions used at the low end for $1,500, the price of a small car. And this is where things get complicated. The last two categories are easy, but once you get into really good attractions, it's a lot harder to weigh which one is better than the other. A lot of it comes down to taste as well. For example, if you easily get sick on roller coasters, there's no way you'd have a good time riding them, so you'd want to go for something a little more casual. The same goes for what you value. I highly value artistic presentation of themed environments, so feeling like I am transported to a new place is more important to me than thrills. So I have a dilemma. How should I rank the upcoming attractions? I decided the major factors are cost, theme level, thrill factor, and interactivity, and possibly story. So here we go. Dark rides, such as the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, is a great example for a high C tier attraction. I love this ride, so it makes me sad that it ranks so low. But here's why I think it ranks in C. Despite having a high story and high art, it's low in cost, low in interactivity, and very low in thrill. Winnie the Pooh's Honey Hunt cost about $30 million to build when it replaced Country Bear Jamboree in Disneyland's Critter Country, so it's much more expensive than the D tier rides. The Peter Pan ride at Disneyland is another example. Although I think the ride system gets a better ranking for thrill than Winnie the Pooh does, in today's theme park market, costs are significantly higher than back in the 50s and 60s. So I would imagine it was much cheaper to build, but I couldn't find any definite details and had to resort to mining forums. Most people estimate between $30 million and $100 million in 2021 money. Considering in 1955 it cost $17 million to build the whole park, about $138 million in today's money, we have to assume these numbers are wildly inaccurate. On the opposite side of the spectrum are generic thrill rides found at most regional parks. They rank highly in thrill, but low in everything else. These kinds of rides cost about $500,000 to purchase if you bought them used, which is significantly cheaper than Disney's budget for their dark rides. Meanwhile, in B tier, the rides tend to double down on one or more of the determining factors, whether it be interactivity or thrill. I place a high premium on interactivity. There's just so much rewritability when something's interactive. So both Midway Mania and Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin have the highest interactivity on this entire list, as well as high theming and high story. However, they rank maybe 3 out of 10 on thrill. They are more thrilling than a typical dark ride, but not by much. The cost to build Toy Story Mania was almost double that of Pooh's Honey Hunt, and it came in at around $80 million. In opposition to the highly interactive rides, another candidate for B tier are very high thrill rides. Roller coasters rock, but most are not themed at all and tell close to zero story beyond the "I'm going to die now" plot. According to Ohio University, the average roller coaster costs around $8 million, so a lot cheaper than these interactive dark rides. A tier. You're starting to get into the titans of thrill attractions. Everything on this list is here because they rank highly in most categories. All these rides share some very similar commonalities. Splash Mountain combines thrill, story, and theming, as do all of these on this list. The highest rank for interactivity is probably Rise of the Resistance out of these four, but I have yet to go on that one, so I can't say definitively. Here are the costs for each of these rides: $75 million, $17 million, $225 million, and $100 million. Most of these rides have higher costs than we've seen before, but it's hard to find verifiable information for these ride costs, so keep them in mind as ballpark. I think Soarin' Over California deserves special mention as it is one of my favorite rides. It has high theme, good story, good thrill, a sense of interactivity at least. Official cost seems to not have been released, however, but I found a version of the ride in Las Vegas called Flyover Las Vegas, and it cost about $40 million. I think that's a pretty good cost considering it's an A-tier ride. Now for S-tier. I have no idea what to put in this category. S-tier should be reserved for the most special of rides. Rides that have the factor that makes you just go, wow. I'm not sure if these rides count towards that, but they certainly are the most expensive and they fill most of the boxes. Expedition Everest broke the record in 2011 for the most expensive roller coaster ever built. It was so expensive because of the amount of work they put into the theming. It has 10 out of 10 theming, 10 out of 10 storytelling, huge thrill factor, and even a tiny bit of interactiveness with how they designed some of the drops. One of the rides that actually manages to check every single box is the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run. It has the highest storytelling out of all the theme park attractions on this list. It has the highest theming as well. It has very high thrill, in my opinion coming in at about 7 out of 10. And its whole premise is interactive. You actually get to pilot the ship. And it boasts as one of the most expensive park rides of all time to ever be built at almost $500 million. That is 5 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. $500 million is a boggling number. So there you have it, folks. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. How would you rank different attractions? What are some rides I didn't include, and where would they fit on this list? Remember to comment and subscribe, or like and subscribe, whatever combination suits you. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to build the best ride that checks off all the boxes while also being cheap to construct. So tune in next time on Theme Park Forge, and as always, thanks for watching.